Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nerd Doctors. My name is Griffin, and I'm joined with my co-host Edward.
What's up, guys?
Today, we're going to be talking about Rings of Power, a much-anticipated prequel to Lord of the Rings. For the most part, I thought it was really good. It came out at the same time period as House of the Dragon, so it had a lot of competition. I stay to the end to get a little bit of a sneak peek of which one we like better. But I think overall, this was really good, and I'm happy season two is already in production.
Yeah, so I didn't like it as much as Griff liked it, but let me explain why. So it's a little too slow for me, and there's some episodes, particularly I believe episode 5. I'm not gonna go into spoilers. There's some things that happen that I'm like, you could have sped that up a little bit, or just told us that you did that, and then gotten to a point. That's my issue with it. Like every episode kind of like waited till the very end to hint at something that was going to happen the next episode, and then that kept going on and on and on until we got to the very end. Those are my gripes with it. That's it. A lot of stuff couldn't be said or mentioned properly because Amazon doesn't have the rights to the full Tolkien estate, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, they don't have any rights to the first age, which is what Edward's alluding to. So they can't really go into those events that the age two is based off of.
There you go. But visually, it's stunning to look at. I mean, I saw every episode. I was like, oh man, now I really want a Legend of Zelda movie, live action or series, because this shit is fantastic. I
It
will
is.
say this though, the elves and some of the costumes, after seeing the Hobbit movies and Lord of the Rings, you're like, ugh, they it looks so great in those movies, and here not so much. Not that they look bad, not that the show looks cheap or that there's like budget issues, because this is the most expensive fucking show ever
Ever.
made, like to date. It cost them well over $1 billion fucking dollars, I think. And you can see just the sets. They use as much practical stuff as possible. Yes, there's a ton of CG, but it's there's a big difference between fucking Amazon CG and Marvel CG, and you can tell just on the trailers. Griff and I both read the books, so if you haven't read the books, you may be a little bit more entertained because you may be like, what the hell is this talking about? We kind of knew certain things just based on the books, and we were right on, I believe, two things.
Yeah.
We were dead wrong on one thing, like fucking dead wrong, like both of us. We didn't know, like the stuff we hinted at, and then we saw that last episode. We're like, oh shit, that I was completely wrong.
There are a lot of things I did like with the show. Like you said, it's really pretty. I completely understand how it's slow. I see that all of that. But this is the type of thing I really like. I like Tolkien mythology and how it is slow to build up, and they do take a lot of time to develop these characters. But I really liked what they did, and I think what they've built up is going to be really great in season two. I think it's going to be a lot more fast paced considering the events of season one. I highly recommend watch Lord of the Rings or become familiar with what happened in the Lord of the Rings movies, because then the events of this will add a bit more to the shock value. This was everything I hoped it was going to be. We got characters that were just confirmed in Lord of the Rings, like by name, like back in the time of, let's say, like back in the time of Durin Day, we got introduced to Durin. I thought that was very fun. We got to see Galadriel and Elrond when they were younger. Edward is completely right. Like the elves weren't as graceful and majestic as they were in Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, save for like Galadriel, and I think Elrond was pretty good. But I do agree there were some plot lines that could just made a little bit shorter. But this is going to be a really good show, and I really hope so. I hope it continues. But they really do need access to their first age. I think that really shot them in the foot because they can't tell the full story without it.
Yeah, what happened to Amazon is exactly what happened to Kevin Feige and Marvel. They didn't have access to their entire library. They kind of go around it, but the way they go about, like, cutting corners isn't too bad. They name specific things without naming them, if that makes any sense. We're getting the season 2, and if you guys are fans of, Lord of the Rings and all this lore, here you get to see the beginnings of some stuff. Like I'm gonna go into a little bit of spoiler territory. Maybe this will get people hyped up. You know, the Dark Lord, Sauron. You want to see? I always wonder, like, how did he start? You see that shit here. You know, Mordor, the relationship between men and and elves and the dwarfs. You start seeing that stuff here. Overall, I enjoyed it.
Just a slight spoiler for House of the Dragons. I like Rings of Power more than House of Dragons for one reason. The stories are about on par for each other, but the way they tell a story in House of Dragons is there's time skips every episode, ranging from 6 months to 10 years.
Oh yeah.
One thing, the reason why I like Rings of Power more is because to avoid that same issue, this is same thing as Lord of the Rings, a condensed timeline. When Galadriel came back, like from the beginning to the time when Númenor was involved, that was thousands of years in between. But in the show, it's just a mere week or like a couple of months at the most, just to keep storytelling the same and to keep everything progressing naturally instead of having these long years and just doing these massive time jumps, which is my big reason why I like this more, because it's not as jarring when they recast an entire show halfway through the season.
Yeah, I agree with Griff there. I do like House of Dragons slightly better. I think the story is progressing better than this one, but I agree. I hated the fact that they switched cast members because they could have just aged them up with prosthetics or CGI. I like seeing the same cast members. I don't want to see three different Galadriels. And by the way, this in the book, she's always depicted as very pretty, and I just never found Kate Blanchett that attractive. And here, I don't know the actress name. I'm gonna get that wrong, but she's very pretty. Like she's what I envisioned in the books.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about Rings of Power. We'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys.